Your rich cousin will be a better father. Men without money don't deserve to be dads. My wife left me for him, laughed while I struggled to survive, until one secret envelope changed everything. My name is Fernando Cruz, 33 years old, father of a 6-year-old girl I call my reason. Although at school, she's known as Sophia. I work as a night janitor in an office building downtown. It's always cold outside, and inside it always smells like disinfectant. I carry a thermos with stale coffee and a ham sandwich in a Ziploc bag I've washed and used 10 times. My uniform is a gray shirt with my name embroidered wrong, Hernando. I never wanted to complain. What can't be fixed gets swept away. I don't know at what point my life began to break apart. Whether it was when Laura told me she didn't want to be with someone who didn't aspire to more, or when my cousin Andre started showing up with his new truck and his ironed shirts to say hello casually. But there I was, at night, mopping a hallway on the 14th floor, thinking about Sophie, asleep in her unicorn pajamas at my ex's house, and how expensive the bus back would be if I missed the last one. The building at that hour is a silent void. The lights flicker, and the printers make noises as if they were breathing. At 2 in the morning, I sit in the cleaning closet, rest my head against the wall, and close my eyes for a minute. I think a lot. I think simply, tomorrow I have to buy her the paints. I won't have enough if I pay the electricity bill and if I ask for an extra shift. My body hurts. What you can't see hurts. That night, before going down to take out the trash from the lobby, I looked at myself in the glass door. Dark circles, 2-day-old beard, rough hands. I opened the door and the cold gust hit me in the face. The lobby clock said 2:17. That's when I saw the lady sitting in one of the armchairs with an old-fashioned brown coat, her white hair tied back, and a purse on her lap. It wasn't normal to see someone at that hour. "Excuse me, ma'am, the building is closed. Do you need help?" I asked in a low voice so as not to attract the attention of the guard who was sleeping on his feet. The woman slowly raised her head. Her eyes were red. She looked at me like someone recognizing an old photograph. "Are you Fernando Cruz?" she said and stood up with difficulty. I stood still. "I'm not famous. I shouldn't be." I swallowed. "Yes, that's me. Is something wrong?" She dropped her purse. Her hands trembled, and one of them touched my sleeve as if to check if I was real. "I have been looking for you for 30 years, she said, and tears broke her voice. "Your mother was my daughter." The world came crashing down on me in an elevator-like silence. I was left with the mop in my hand, a little ridiculous, a little childlike. "What?" I said, feeling the word wouldn't come out completely. "I am Clara Mendez, your grandmother," she said, opened her purse, and took out a beige envelope with worn edges. "This is yours." I took the envelope without knowing whether to put down the mop or not. The paper was warm, it felt heavy. Inside, something metallic clinked, like a key. "Why now?" I asked, aware of what I was asking, and at the same time not wanting to know. She dried her face with a handkerchief. "Because I can't keep silent anymore. Because your mother is not at rest. Because you need to know." I looked at the envelope. My hands were sweating. I thought of my mom, the one who raised me, of her smell of detergent, of her early death, of the times she told me, "Your mother loved you in her own way," and how I never wanted to ask too much. I thought of Laura, of Andres, of Sophie, of how there are some uniforms you can't take off. "If this is a joke," I managed to say. "It's not," she said, pressing her lips together like someone holding in a secret. "Your mother's name was Anna, and he was someone too." The guard coughed in the background. The clock changed to 2:19. I opened the envelope. When Laura and I started, we were 19. A borrowed motorcycle and the habit of eating empanadas sitting on the sidewalk. We laughed at everything. I worked in a mechanic shop. She was studying business administration and said she was going to have her own office. "You'll see, fair. We're going to go to the beach without having to count coins." I believed her. I think men like me believed many things. Sophie arrived on a rainy Monday weighing exactly 3 kilos. I named her Sophia because I wanted her to be wise. Laura cried a lot, from emotion, from fear. Me too. When I brought her home, my mom, the one who raised me, Teresa, was already sick, but she still knitted her some little yellow booties. "Life gives back to you," she told me, without explaining that sometimes phrases just float around and hit you years later. Then Teresa died and the shop closed. The pandemic arrived. I stayed at home. I went out to do anything to bring some money in. I delivered bread, I delivered food, I handed out flyers. When I finally got the janitor job, I was grateful. If you grow up with little, thank you comes easily. But Laura changed, or I started to stand still while everything else moved. She started trying to organize me. What if I combed my hair this way? What if I looked for something else? What if, don't stay out at night, I never see you? I counted bills. I paid for Sophie's kindergarten as best I could. One day, Andres, my cousin, showed up at a family gathering with a commercial-like smile and shoes that probably cost more than my salary. I'm in real estate, he said. I thought, how lucky. He clapped me on the back. Fair, you're always such a hard worker. It angered me that it sounded like pity. He started coming around more often, just passing by. He brought expensive wine. He brought jokes. He brought promises for everyone. Laura's eyes sparkled when he talked about trips. I remained silent. How does a lunchbox compete with a sushi restaurant? How does a bus compete with a truck with leather seats? I didn't see the scene coming, but later everyone told me it was obvious. One day, while I was fixing a broken faucet in the bathroom, I heard Laura talking on the phone in the bedroom. I can't go on like this. He doesn't change. No, don't tell your mom anything. Yes. On Sunday, I dropped the wrench. I picked it up, washed it, and put it back on the towel. At night, at dinner time, she told me bluntly, I'm going to tell you something, and I want you not to be dramatic. I was already in a bad state. What? I'm with Andres. I tried, fair. I really tried, but you don't. You don't aspire to anything. Sophie needs more. I do too. Sophie was playing with a doll. The name Andres stuck in my tongue like a fishhook. My cousin. I said, your cousin, she said, as if she were saying the neighbor. She didn't even have the decency to lower her voice. I felt my chest burning. Look, I'm not going to take Sophie from you, she continued. But we have to go to mediation. And he can give me stability. Me too, I said, not believing it. Me, she laughed. It wasn't a loud laugh. It was more like a snort of contempt, like when you can't believe the other person said that. Dads without money don't deserve to have children, she said. And that was the first blow that I never forgot. She said it and continued eating as if she had said we were out of bread. We went to mediation, then to family court. Andres was everywhere. He would walk into the courthouse with his blue jacket and his shiny watch. He paid for a lawyer with a thick briefcase. I went with a public defender who seemed to be handling 10 cases at once. You don't own your own home, Mr. Cruz, the judge told me with a sleepy face. You work at night. Who takes care of the child? The mother has a stable home, a partner with an income. It is best that the primary custody be with the mother. And so I left with a paper that said visitation schedule, alternate weekends, and 1 afternoon a week. And it also said child support, 40% of declared salary. I did the math. It didn't add up. I called Laura. I can't afford it, I said. Can you help me with the school supplies? She said, no, that's what Andres is for. I wanted to break my phone. I didn't. I called Sophie. She said, are you coming to get me tomorrow? I told her yes, even though it wasn't my day. Later I explained as best I could that I couldn't. I didn't want her to see me cry. The handovers of Sophie at the gate of a country club began. I would arrive with the frozen backpack and an apple pie in a container. Andres would get out with sunglasses, even if it was cloudy. Laura, with a perfume I had never smelled before. Sophie would run to me and hug me tight. Dad, today we drew a picture of a dog, she would tell me, pressing the paper to my chest. Andres would look at my phone, my worn-out sneakers. Need anything, cousin? He would ask with a smile like in an ad. I would clench my jaw. No. One day at the gate, Laura told me quietly, look, if you want, you can see Sophie more often, but sign the paper waiving any claims. Andres is going to put her in a better school. Don't be selfish. I'm not giving up my daughter, I told her. I felt like I was speaking like my father, whom I didn't remember, as if there were old voices inside me that I didn't know where they came from. Do her a favor. Fair, she insisted. Sophie can't live on promises. I didn't sleep that night. In the building, I cleaned the windows with so much force that I had white streaks on my hands. I sat in the cleaning closet and stared at the wall. My shift partner, Joel, told me, don't let them get to you, man. I know a guy who lost his kid and later the kid wouldn't even look at him. Go and break yourself for her. I nodded. I'll break, I told him. I've been breaking for a while, and I kept breaking. A notification of a support increase arrived. Their lawyer argued that my salary was probably not fully declared because people like me always do side jobs. I boiled inside. I presented pay stubs. I declared I was in the red. I cut back on everything. I bought nothing for myself. I darned SoFi socks. I learned to glue the soles of my sneakers. And at the same time, I felt a stone in my stomach, one of those that makes you clumsy. Then came the night of the envelope, and all that weight shifted. I took the papers out of the envelope as if they were fragile. The first thing I saw was a photo. A girl with dark hair, big eyes, a shy smile. She was sitting in a park with a small baby bump. On the back, a handwritten date, 1991. Anna. It said on the back in beautiful handwriting. "That's my daughter," the lady said. Her voice trembled. "Your mother." Underneath there were letters, papers with seals, a birth certificate with my name, Fernando. Mother, Ana Mendez. Father, the dash went right through me. Then, a notarized document with stamps and signatures. Acknowledgement of paternity in deposit. I read without understanding. There was a name that sounded familiar, Ricardo Valdez, in large letters. Another paper said, trust fund with beneficiary at 30 years old. There was a set of keys with a metal keychain that said Local 3. At the bottom, one more letter, folded many times. What? What is this? I heard myself saying. Clara took a deep breath. Your mother, Anna, fell in love with someone she shouldn't have. She was very young. He was older, married, powerful. His last name carries weight in this city, Fernando. I'm not going to say she was forced because I wasn't there. I know she wanted to run away. I know that when she got pregnant, he or his people looked for me. They offered me a solution, that the child be born, that a secret acknowledgement be arranged, that he be given up for adoption, that no one would know, that if I spoke, they would make our lives impossible. Adoption, I managed to say, as if the word were a pile of rocks. An adoption that wasn't an adoption, she said, clutching her purse. Anna didn't want to. She fought. I was scared. I signed things I don't understand. They gave us money to start over. I used it so my other children could eat. They forced your mother to go to another city for a few months. When you were born, they took you from us, and I was left with this key, with these papers, with the promise that at 30-something would be yours if no one spoke. Then your mother got sick. Leukemia. She died at 23. In the hospital, she asked me to look for you. She asked me to please give you his name. I couldn't. I didn't know how. I was a coward. I looked at my hands and they were different. I was listening as if from a distance. Who is he? I said. I wanted to hear a name I already suspected. Who is Ricardo Valdez? Clara looked down. The father of Mrs. Valdez. Andres' mother, she whispered. I was speechless. The entire building buzzed. You are part of that family, whether they like it or not, she said, almost apologizing. I had to lean my back against the wall. I saw Andres with his jacket. I saw his smile, his car. I saw Laura saying, dads without money don't deserve to have children. I felt like I was being told a cruel joke. Are you telling me that my cousin? Your cousin is the son of that man's legitimate daughter, she said. You are the son of the daughter he hid. Andres, that boy, is your second cousin or whatever. I don't know what you call shame. I unfolded the letter. It was from Anna to me. Son, it said in beautiful handwriting. I don't know your name now. I'm writing this for the day you can read it. I loved you from the moment I knew you were going to exist. They took your cries from my hands, but not from my head. If one day you are given this, you will know that I wanted to fight. I wanted to have you. They didn't let me. Forgive me for not being stronger. I love you, Mom. I kept reading it over and over until the words blurred. And the trust fund. I asked as if I cared about the paper and not the rest. It was a piece of wreckage. Money, Clara said, with shame. Money he left to clear his conscience, and so that you, if you appeared, at least wouldn't go hungry. No one claimed it. They said only at 30 years old, and that no one should know. I knew and I didn't come sooner. I was afraid. I was ashamed. I had the voice of those people at the back of my neck. It burned deep inside me. 30 years, I repeated. 30 years. I thought of all the times a little money would have changed things. Medicine for Teresa, rent on time, a less tired lawyer. 30 years is a lot of grocery bags. I'm sorry, Clara said and bowed as if I were going to hit her. I couldn't. Violence wouldn't come out of me, even though my body was shaking. Why now? I insisted without looking at her. Because I saw Andres on TV, she said. talking about family values at the inauguration of one of his buildings. I saw his ex-wife, his little girl next to him. I knew that face. It's my daughter's face when they told her you wouldn't be with her. And I thought I didn't have much time left, that if I died, everything would be lost. I went to the firm that appears in those papers. The notary is still alive. He told me the trust exists, that the shop is yours, that your name is you. I came. I leaned on the lobby counter. The guard approached, poked his head in, and walked away when he saw I was crying. I wiped my face with my forearm. Sophie, I said in a low voice. Sophie, is she your daughter? Clara asked. Yes. She nodded. Then, do what your mother would have wanted, she said. Don't let them get you. I put the envelope away. I asked Joel to cover for me for an hour. I sent a message to my boss. An emergency came up. I went down with Clara to the nearest taxi. I went to the notary with the little hope of a beaten dog. And the paper with the seal and signature looked more real than my own face at that moment. The notary was a thin man with a sad mustache and hands that looked like paper. Ah, the Valdez case, he said as if talking about a file that gave him heartburn. He checked my ID, checked the papers, called someone on the phone, nodded. Yes, you are the beneficiary. The trust was established in 1991. It becomes available to you upon turning 30. No one could contact you. Mrs. Mendez had located you, but had not come. Well, you're here. There is an amount, not huge, but sufficient. An interest. Also a deed for a shop in a downtown alley. My hands started sweating again, but it was a different feeling. How much is not huge? I asked. He said a number. It wasn't a storybook fortune. It was, however, something that could change routines. It was enough for a small apartment, to pay off debts, to hire someone to fight for me with more papers than exhaustion. There is an additional condition, the notary said, clearing his throat. Confidentiality regarding the origin. Legally, there is no prohibition, but the firm that administered this belonged to the Valdez family. Today, another firm handles it, but I'm telling you, if you mess with them, you will get dirty. If you just want to collect what is yours, I will help you. I thought of Andres, of Laura, of Sophie. I thought of the phrase. I thought of my sometimes stupid pride. I don't want revenge, I said, surprising myself by saying it. I want stability. I want my daughter. That's all. Then, start by putting your house in order, he said with a wisdom he had perhaps repeated before. In the following days, I did things I thought I would never be able to do. I paid the electricity debt. I bought a refrigerator that didn't sound like an old engine. I rented a 2-room apartment near Sophie's school with a room I painted mint green because she likes it. I didn't buy anything flashy. I didn't want it to seem like I was trying to show off. I bought books for Sophie, paints, a new unicorn pajama set. I made appointments with a child psychologist in case she needed it, and I sat down with a lawyer the notary recommended. Her name is Patricia, and she speaks slowly, but when she writes, she's like lightning. We are going to ask for a modification of the arrangement, Patricia told me, organizing my papers. With a stable address, with flexible hours, we can request shared custody, and, with your financial situation stabilized, we can review the support payment. We are also going to request measures for the mother's interference, if there is any. There is, I said. Lately, she hasn't let me talk to Sophie more than what the paper says. Patricia nodded. Noted. I told Clara I was going to fight. She cried again. Keep whatever you want of my daughters, she told me. It's yours. I didn't deserve it. Come meet Sophie when you're ready. I told her. But I need time and boundaries. The word felt new and my own. Of course, she said, looking down. I called Laura. We need to talk, I said. I want to see Sophie today, and I want you to know that I'm going to ask for shared custody. She laughed again. With what money are you going to do that? And then I told her a half-truth. Don't worry about that, I said. And don't ever repeat that thing about dads without money to me again. I won't allow it, not in front of me or my daughter. If you say something like that again, I'll file a complaint for symbolic violence, and I will win. There was a silence. She said, What did you do, Fair? Who is helping you? Are you with someone? The usual contempt, but tinged with curiosity. I'm not with anyone. I'm with myself, I said, and I sounded different. I'm coming for Sophie at 5. When I arrived at the country club, Andres didn't come down. She came down with Sophie by the hand. Hi, Dad. Sophie shouted, running and jumping into my arms. I held her tight. I smelled her hair. My daughter smelled like apples. What is all this? Laura asked, looking at my new shirt as if it were a suit. It wasn't new, it was clean. I realized that for the first time in months, I was the calm one. It's about setting boundaries, I told her, and stopping you from humiliating me. If you want to talk, let it be with respect. Discomfort crossed her face. That word? Now everyone, who do you think you are? I didn't care. Too many nights with my forehead against the wall to apologize for existing. See you on Monday at the hearing, I said. I went with Sophie to the park on the corner of my new apartment. I showed her her room. It's green, she said, happy. Like slime. She threw herself on the bed. Dad, why did you leave the old house? She looked at me with those eyes that make me tell the truth. I didn't leave, love, I told her. We moved to a house of our own, closer to your school. We're still together. The first night in that house, Sophie left her teddy bear on my pillow. So you won't be lonely, she said. I bit my lip so I wouldn't cry in front of her. We had pasta with butter and grated cheese for dinner, and it was a feast. A few days later, we went to the hearing. Patricia spoke. I told my story. Laura spoke. Andre spoke. He said that stability for the child was his priority. Patricia asked him if he was married to Laura. No, he said. Are you planning to get married? I don't see what that has to do with anything, he replied, a little annoyed. Well, it does, Patricia said. You are not a legal part of this parental authority. Mr. Cruz is the father, and now he has a home. Ours we can adjust, and he complies. The mother, on the contrary, has prevented contact on several occasions. That is documented in messages. She projected on a screen the messages in which Laura canceled visits out of whim. Andres pursed his lips. Laura avoided looking at me. During the recess, Andres approached me. Where did you get the money? He said in a low voice, through clenched teeth. You where? I should have had it for 30 years, I told him. He looked at me as if I were speaking to him in a language he didn't want to understand. What are you saying? Nothing that concerns you. Just make sure you don't disrespect me in front of my daughter again. His eyelid twitched. In his gesture, for the first time, I saw something resembling fear. The judge, another one, this time a bald man with a cold kindness, provisionally granted shared custody. 2 weeks with one, 2 with the other. Adjust the support payment. Mandatory mediation to define the routine. I listened as if someone were translating my life into a language I could finally speak. Laura cried. I did too. Sophie was outside with my sister. When I hugged her, she said, what does this mean? That you're going to have 2 houses? Yes, I told her. Can I have 2 toothbrushes? You can have 10, I replied, laughing for the first time in months. That afternoon, I went to the downtown alley with the key to shop number 3. The place was closed with an old shutter. I lifted it. Inside, dust, wooden shelves, a counter, a sign lying on the floor. It said Mendez Fabrics. It was my grandmother's. I took a deep breath, touched the walls. Ideas crossed my mind like lights. Open a small business. Rent it to someone who needs it. Create a sewing workshop for single mothers. I don't know, but it was mine. It was Anna's. It was Clara's. It was a piece of unstolen history. Clara came over for tea on a Saturday. Sophie said hello to her without knowing who she was. I said, Sophie, this is Clara. She is your grandmother, Anna's mother. Sophie looked at me and then at her. My great-grandmother? She asked and laughed as she said the word. Clara cried. If you let me, I can be, she said. I nodded. We talked. We didn't talk about betrayals. That day we put Sophie's drawings on the refrigerator. Not everything was fixed with money. I repeat this because it's the truth. I was still working. I managed to switch to the afternoon shift, not the night shift. My boss said, are you sure? You'll earn less. I gain in life, I replied, and he laughed. He understood little, but he changed me. I opened a savings account. I bought a cheap watch, not to show off, but to not be late. One night, looking at the photos Clara left me, I felt a deeper hole than all the others. The truth of 30 years doesn't fit in a drawer. I thought about Anna, my mother, who loved me from a distance because it was the only thing they left her. I thought about Teresa, the one who raised me with hands that smelled of detergent. I thought about Ricardo Valdez, about his guilt organized in trust funds that arrived too late. And I thought about Andres and how money, that animal, is used to crush or to support. Dad, Sophie said from her bed. Tomorrow you'll take me to the park. Yes, I told her. Tomorrow I'll take you. That simple certainty pierced me like a light. I didn't fight with Laura for sport again. We sat down with the mediator and talked about concrete things. Wednesdays she stays at your house, Fridays at mine. We pay for the doctor half and half. No more comments about money in front of Sophie. We signed it. When we had to argue, we argued. When we had to set boundaries, I set them. Andres disappeared for a while, or maybe I stopped looking at him. One day he wrote to me, "Let's talk." I met him at a cafe. He arrived with the same watch, the same smile. "I found out about some things," he said, lowering his voice. "What things?" "That you are family." He said it as if the word weighed on him. "I don't care," I replied. And it was true. My family is Sophie and my dead. He looked at me and didn't know what to say. "Well," he let out. "Good luck." He stood up. He didn't wish me the worst. He didn't extend his hand. "That's fine." I went to the cemetery where Anna is. Clara took me. The grave had dried flowers. "Hi, Mom," I said. And it came out strange, but not a lie. I placed a flower on it. I told her about Sophie, about her laugh, her bad mood when she doesn't sleep, her drawings. I showed her photos on my phone as if she could see them. I told her I forgave her, even though I didn't need to forgive. I told her I also forgave myself for not having asked sooner. I cried. Clara hugged me. I rented shop number 3 to a woman who does clothing alterations. I gave her 3 months free. I told her, "Get started with peace of mind." She thanked me. She wanted to hug me. She held back. She sent me a photo a month later, a mannequin with a red dress. "This is possible because you gave me a break. It's not charity, it's a fix. What was given to me late, I advanced a little for someone else." Sophie got used to her green room. She taped a note with crooked letters on the wall. House 1 and House 2, with hearts. I didn't correct it. You don't have to correct a child making maps of the world. Sometimes at night I sit on the couch. I look at the key to the shop, the beige envelope that no longer scares me. The photos. I repeat to myself, simply, money doesn't make a father, but a father who doesn't give up also has to eat. Morality doesn't pay for school, but boundaries do shut the mouths of those who think they are judges because they have credit cards. My mother Anna was there in her own way. Teresa was there. Clara, belatedly, was there too. I am here every day. I choose to be. If there is a moral, I ask for it because I like things to have a conclusion. It would be this. Never again accept being told that your value depends on your salary. Do not hand over your children in exchange for them to stop humiliating you. Not everything is fought with shouts. Sometimes it is fought with papers, with schedules, with clear words. Don't talk to me like that. And when life gives you an envelope, even if it scares you, open it. Today Sophie asked me for a chocolate ice cream with sprinkles. We walked along the sidewalk. It was sunny. She told me, "Dad, you were poor before." I laughed. "I'm still me," I told her. "And you are too. The rest can be fixed." She squeezed my hand. That, for me, is wealth.